Hi everyone and welcome back. Okay, so we're going to be doing a little bit of a sketchbook tour today. I get asked sometimes on YouTube, are all the projects on Patreon, these big, long, complicated drawing projects? Well, no, they're not. We have a dedicated beginner section over there. We have another section called Sketchbook Corner where we do smaller, sort of more beginner-based sketches and intermediate sort of based sketches as well. So there's a lot of beginners material and intermediate material over on Patreon. It's just that I don't show a lot of it on YouTube. There's too much of it. There's tons of little drawings and sketches here. Some of them you've seen. A lot of others I just do on separate pieces of paper and they don't actually get onto YouTube. Sometimes I only bother just putting the big long drawing projects onto YouTube. The watercolours and things like that. So today I'm going to show you some of the smaller sketches and beginner's sketches that I do specifically for newcomers, beginners, people that haven't got much time to participate in the big long drawing projects and everything. A lot of the projects in here don't take long at all. So I'll give you a quick flick through this sketchbook. It's actually a Sea White travel journal, cartridge paper. Quite nice sketchbooks actually, ideal for just little sketches and carrying around with you, or note taking little ideas and all that kind of stuff. So this is the first one in the sketchbook, purposely done for beginners. Nice and simple, nice simple easy little vignette there. Gets beginners used to graphite powder and blending. Gets them used to the medium and gives them confidence. You can do this easily, it's very easy to do. Starts to get a little bit darker and more contrasty there, but again still nice and simple. Nice one for beginners. We get a bit more complicated in advance through some of the drawings here, and then we go back to more simpler little sketches and studies and things. You'll learn all how to do the foliage techniques and the trees and the blending and the erasing. All the techniques I use are all kind of simplified, in this sketchbook. Some nice, simple, easy little drawings. They're very popular actually on Patreon. It couldn't be easier, could it? Look at that, it's so simple. Again, just a very simple little graphite powder vignette, just something made up in my mind. It takes 5 or 10 minutes to do, and again you can do that. If you've never drawn before, you can do that. You will get results like that straight away. And that's, like I say, that's what these very simple and easy little sketches are for. Start to get a little bit more involved, like I say, but nonetheless they're still quite easy and they don't take long. And a lot of the techniques that I use, for the big long drawing projects, I use in here as well, but they're kind of simplified, so it kind of makes it easy for you to sort of follow along with them. That's a nice simple scene. It was taken from a photo actually that I took on one of my walks. It was very early in the morning, it was very misty, but the sun was just coming up. And so I took a photo of that and done a little sketch of it. They don't all have to be sort of masterpiece drawings or anything special. This is a sketchbook meant for sketches, little ideas and practicing and things like that. This one was done with Conte Pierre Noir pencils, really dark black pencils, and a little bit of graphite powder smudged in the sky there. So we experiment with a few different mediums as well, to get a few different and varying results. And again, the same here, very simple, almost little trick drawings really, just experimenting. And some of the, like this for example, the raindrops on the window, you could carry this over, the techniques you learn on this, you could carry this over to another drawing project, to a larger drawing project. But it's a very simple but effective technique. They both are actually, both just small, don't take long at all, and great fun to do. Going back to a few simpler landscapes. You can see, these compared to the bigger drawings that I do on the A4 paper. These are very, very simplified. but still very effective. And I think that's what a lot of beginners need actually. They like to, you know, not be overwhelmed or daunted by instantly looking at a picture that just looks overcomplicated and impossible to do. You know, they like to look at something like this and see that, oh yeah, I could easily do that, you know, following along with a video. I'm sure I could do that, and you can. You can do this kind of thing. That's ink and graphite, gives a nice effect there. Again, none of them are masterpieces, they're all just sort of little practice drawings and little ideas. Start to get a little bit more involved now. I could have took that a lot further if I wanted to, but I was kind of struggling with myself with that one to try and keep that as simple as I possibly could, you know, for sort of beginners and intermediates to follow along with. But again, it is still fairly simple and doesn't take too long to do. More sort of foliage studies there and grass textures. I think that one, yeah, that one ended up on YouTube, I think. But like I say, the full demonstration and all the instructions, you know, are over on my Patreon channel. I like to do quite a few bird drawings and sketches, butterflies as well, anything to do with wildlife really. I think, I can't remember what pencils I used for that, for the dark areas there. It was either Conte Pierre Noir or the Staedtler Mars Lumograph Black. And again, back to basics, very, very simple little graphite powder vignette. And again, something you can do easily. You know, if you look at drawings like that and think, oh, I can't do that, believe me, you can. You follow along with the videos, you can do that easily. You know, especially done for beginners, that one. And that's ink and graphite there. Now some of the drawings, you know, like I say, they do get a bit more involved, a bit more advanced. This was another one I was trying to hold back on, but I just got taken in by it all and wanted to, you know, take the whole drawing further and get all the detail in there and all of that kind of stuff. But it's an ideal one for the intermediates, you know, people wanting to come out of their comfort zone a little bit more and try and advance a little bit more from just simple sketches to, you know, more finished drawing. Things like this will really give you a lot of confidence, and you'll learn loads as well from doing these kind of drawings and sketches. Again, back to a few nice simple bird studies there. You'll learn the techniques for doing these sort of bokeh backgrounds, out of focus backgrounds. Very simple to do. More simple little landscape studies there. That one's a little bit more advanced, you know, it's quite detailed. But like I say, every now and again, sometimes the beginners, they feel like stepping out their comfort zone a little bit and trying something a little bit more detailed, something that takes a little bit longer. And again, these are ideal for that. Okay, that's not specifically a beginner's drawing there, that's obviously a little bit more advanced. But again, because it's done on an A5, it doesn't take too long. And who knows, you know, it might inspire you even as a beginner to have a go at something like that. Nice simple little misty forest scene there. You know, and if you're looking at that thinking, I can't do that, believe me, you can. You can do that. It's a lot easier than what you think. And this was from a photo that one of the members sent in. A really good photo actually, a lovely misty forest scene with the horse rider there. Great fun to do. And this is when I got the Faber-Castell matte pencils. Done a few sketches with those. Another little simple misty forest scene there. And that's a nice one to do. It's a really nice little scene, that one. The cows crossing the river. Again, you'll learn how to do these very simple grass techniques. Simple but effective. You know, you'll create a nice look in the drawing. You've got this lovely contrast of the focal points and the interest with the cows crossing the river there. Really nice scene to do. And that's the last one. Is that the last one? Yeah, that's the last one that I've done there. That's a dove, collared dove in flight. Again, that was from a photo that I took. Yeah, so there we go. So that's kind of like the graphite, a little bit of ink in there as well. But that's kind of like the graphite sort of sketchbook tour. I think I'm about halfway through that now. And while I've got the camera rolling and my sketchbooks out, I'll quickly show you some of the little ink drawings we do. Again, a lot of these are just for fun, very simple, and again, some of them are a little bit more complicated. So it's for all levels really, the same as the sketchbook there. I've got a lot more ink drawings as well on separate pieces of paper, which are also, you know, drawing projects over on Patreon. These are just very simple little pen and wash ink drawings. Some of them are not brilliant, but like I say, they're just little sketchbook practices and just trying out new pens and new techniques and that kind of thing. That one didn't end up as a video, that was just a little practice I'd done. A very simple little pen and wash. Start to get a bit more, or quite a bit more involved actually in this one. I think this, what was this one? This was using grey ink pens and watercolour washes. Some really nice effects there for the foliage and the grass. And again, you'll learn all of this in the videos on Patreon. And that's grey ink, black ink, and a very light watercolour wash of black watercolour there. That one was just kind of messing around with ballpoint pens actually. Believe it or not, ballpoint pens make fantastic drawing tools. They're really, really nice to use. This was done with a dip pen and bottled ink. I can remember doing that. I really enjoyed doing that one. Again, it's great fun to work with dip pens and everything. I talk about all the pens and all the materials that I'm using and showing you all the different types of pens. And you can see throughout the sketchbook that, you know, they all kind of produce different effects. Very similar, but you know, there are some subtle differences with them. Again, that's a nice, simple, easy beginner's one there. Just a little, very simple silhouette tree study there, little tree line. None of the drawings in here take long. They're all very, very quick to do. And that one there I've done with brown ink. Great fun, absolutely great fun to do. It's like I say, these are not really serious drawings or anything. When I do ink drawings, I like to keep them fairly sort of simple and open, and just relax and have fun with them. So again, they're sort of great for beginners. You know, and if you can do these, well, if you can do them, when you've learnt these foliage techniques in ink, you can carry them over to your graphite drawing, and it'll really help you to actually start with foliage in ink, because it gives you the fundamental basics of the technique, and it's a lot easier to do in ink than it is in graphite. So that's it, there we go, just a quick little sketchbook tour there. In fact, I've got one more here. You might not be interested in this one, but it's a sketchbook. And while I've got my sketchbooks out, I might as well quickly go through it. This is just a little watercolour sketchbook. This is by Etcher. I forgot to mention as well that this sketchbook here as well, this is also by Sea White. This is actually the watercolour travel journal. So there's two Sea White sketchbooks there and an Etcher watercolour sketchbook. I'll try and leave links below for them if I can find any links for them. So these are just more or less bird and butterfly studies, kept fairly small, fairly simple, you know, just in this sketchbook. Quite a few of these have actually made it onto YouTube, I think, but I think there's one or two in here that possibly didn't, so I'll just kind of quickly flick through this now. There's not many in here actually. Still working my way through this through this sketchbook. But you can see, you know, they might look complicated and all the rest of it, and they might take a little bit longer than, well, certainly longer than some of the ink drawings and everything. But they're not, you know, 50 hours long or anything like that, or 100 hours long like some of the graphite projects that I do. So there we go. Quick little sketchbook tour for you there. So if you don't feel daunted at some of these drawings and sketches, check out my Patreon. I'll leave links in the description below and in the end screen cards as well. You know, like I say, I know some of these look a bit complicated, but for the most part, why they end up in a sketchbook is because they don't take very long. They're not really meant to be, you know, hyper-realistic finished drawings or anything like that. They're just meant to be fun and simple to do. So if you think that's something that appeals to you, you know, there's a lot of this kind of stuff over on my Patreon channel. Plus, like I say, there's a dedicated beginners section. There's a drawing tips and techniques section there, which talks specifically about all the individual techniques. There's an art materials section there, which talks specifically about all the art materials that I use, I prefer, and I recommend. And like I say, a lot of information, and I mean a lot of information, doesn't make it onto YouTube. I just put up these little demos for you, you know, showing you some of the drawings here and there. But all the information, all the tips and techniques, all the secrets are over on my Patreon channel. Okay, so thanks very much for viewing. I hope you enjoyed having a quick flick through, quick nosy there at some of my sketches. If you like the video, always appreciate a thumbs up and a share, and I always read your comments as well. So thanks very much everyone, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.